heavy. Okay, I'm good to go. My name is Jared Martin. I will be 27 on the 25th of this month. And I am clean now for 2 years. I've been in drug addiction for 12 years of my life. I started when I was 13.
Tell me something about yourself. What are the things that you really enjoy?
My interest is people's behavior and why people are the way that they are. So that is an interesting thing for me to do, and it's what I like to do. When it comes to hobbies per se, I like hiking. I'm an adrenaline junkie in a way. Would love to do base jumping, you know. So yeah, I like outdoor activities. I'm an outdoor person, so that's what I like. I love nature. I love seeing what God has created. It's always amazing to see, you know. What I also mostly love is sitting down and just listening, you know. Not when there's no people. I know I said I love people, but there's also me time where I like to sit down and I like to listen to the world around me, you know, especially like at night. It's beautiful, nature. Yeah, that's what I like doing.
Taking back to your childhood, what were the things that you really wanted to do when you were very young?
When I was younger, I wanted to be an actor. I always watched people on the TV. I used to watch Die Hard, you know, and that's what I wanted to do. It is a passion of mine, but because of circumstances, friends, I didn't do that. I was a very sporty person when I was younger. I used to do athletics. I used to run when I was wee eye, you know. So a lot of running. I did soccer for a while. I was like I said, I'm a very sporty person, you know. So that's what I liked doing when I was younger, you know. And obviously your day-to-day things, playing soccer on the street, you know, playing with the friends. That was me when I was a child.
Let's talk about your household. Where did you grow up, and what was your family, your house setup?
The first house that I stayed at was with my granny, my 2 uncles, and my mom. And my one uncle was an alcoholic, my other uncle was a drug addict. My granny, at that time, when I was very young, she was also drinking a lot, excessively. So every day was fighting. So I grew up basically in violence. My granny, that was the alcoholic, she used to throw parties at our house on a weekend. I used to go gambling with my granny. I remember one time I got lost because we were gambling, and then she went somewhere to go and get drinks, and then I got lost. I had to walk home, didn't know how to get home at all. But yeah, that was basically the household that I grew up when I was born until when I was about 6 or 7. I then moved out there to go because they kicked my mom out of the house. My mom was an air hostess at the time. We went to go and stay by my granny's auntie. And that was a house of just women. So they taught me mannerism, they taught me how to treat a lady. Yeah, so that's the 2 households that I grew up in.
School, how did that go?
School, I went to primary school, went to high school, and university. It wasn't really tough, you know. It wasn't. I was because of the violence that I grew up in. So if anyone would try anything, I would react in violence. So that's where I was in school. So I'll get into a lot of fights in school when I was in primary school. Yeah, but I had a normal education.
So
you
what
know?
did you study at university?
At university, I got a scholarship to play rugby at Stellenbosch University. I didn't go to the university per se. I went to ETA, but I got a scholarship to play for the university. So I studied sports management and fitness. Like I said, I got the scholarship because I played 7s and I played 15s. So from childhood till then, I then went from wanting to be an actor to wanting to be a professional rugby player. And I had all the opportunities to do so. So I studied that for 2 years, and then my coach, he retired, and my scholarship died out. So my mom didn't have enough money to pay for the full fees, so I then left university after 2 years.
Was your slip into addiction, was it a gradual thing, you'd say, or was there defining moments?
It was a gradual thing. It started from when I was younger. But it started with women first and then carried on. Like, I got molested when I was younger. I was 5 or 6. Didn't know that I was being molested. Only later on in life I found out it was by an older woman. Well, she was like 13 at the time. I was like 5 or 6. So that then led me to being very lustful, seeing women as objects. And because of that, I did a lot of other things to have a better experience. I remember when I think I was 12 or 13. Yeah, 12 or 13. I drank myself, not into a stupor, but like properly drunk. Because a friend of mine, the mom said to us that I'd rather have you do it in front of me than behind me. So I'll smoke weed by his house. We would drink, we would smoke oka, just like. So that's why I say it gradually started, From there, it went off to wanting to try cocaine. I tried heroin. It was first a very small, used to smoke it in a bong. And I then gradually started smoking it more. And that's when I got heavy addicted to heroin. I was in addiction for heroin for 8 years. But in that, I did other drugs as well. I did a lot of other drugs. I did cocaine, MDMA. And it wasn't, I first thought it was because of peer pressure or anything. It wasn't that. It was just because I wanted to. Because I felt excitement from it, that temporal feeling. That's what I wanted. But in that temporal feeling, I would feel euphoria in a way, So I didn't do it because no one pressured me to do it, because no one could pressure me to do anything. I did things because I wanted to do it. And I think that for me was more dangerous because there was no boundary. I had no boundary whatsoever. I would take something and I would do it to the extreme. So anything that I did it to the extreme. So back to the question, it was a gradual thing. It didn't just happen like that. It went from, because there's no small or big drug, but it went from weed and alcohol to the biggest, baddest, hardest drugs out there. Yeah.
So obviously you're still an active, fit guy doing sports.
Yeah.
Did you feel you could still manage it, the drug use and working your body on the sports gym?
I did. It damaged my body severely. I remember when the first year I was supposed to go to university, I said to my mom, I didn't want to go. She's like, no, what's wrong? I said, no. I eventually told her that I was doing heroin, and I was very thin. So she said, listen, do you have anything that you can stop it? Can you stop by yourself? I said, yeah, I can. I got medicine, I got Suboxones. I then stopped. I did stop. But then I started using steroids because I needed to go and play rugby. And those guys, I lost a lot of kgs. So I then played. I would come home on the weekend and I would do drugs on the weekend. So yes, I managed it for a while, but it damaged my body big time. Like I would play and I would smoke and I would do steroids. So can you imagine what happened to my heart? I had a big heart problem.
You couldn't go back to university. What did it make you feel like?
I was disappointed because I wanted to play rugby. Like that was my main thing, I wanted to, and I had the capabilities to play for Western Province, to play for the Springboks, and I understood. Yes, I was disappointed, but I understood because the money wasn't there. I couldn't do anything about it. So then I decided, okay, let me go and work, and with that money, I will then pay for my own university. But obviously, because of the mindset that I had of drugs and partying and women, it didn't work out. I'd work, but then I'd use that money for drugs, because now I wasn't I didn't have a focus. I knew the focus was there, but I wasn't doing it. When I was in university, I was doing it. When I was working, I wasn't playing. So I'll play club rugby, but the guys there, it's more about partying. So the money went to waste. You know what I mean? So I was disappointed, and I just followed up. And it came to a day where I was like, you know what? It's not going to happen. So I might as well just keep doing drugs and keep working. There was a lot of times when I wanted it to stop, because at that time I was doing heroin, a lot of heroin. So the thing is, you'd wake up in the morning, you'll go and scuttle, which means you'll go look for stuff, or you'll rob someone, or you'll do. And there's days when I would wake up and I'd be like, is this how life is for me? Is this what I envisioned for my life? Waking up every morning, doing the same thing, then getting back up and going to sleep. It's just like a loop of doing the same thing over and over. So there was times when I felt like I wanted it to stop. But then there was also times, because of the feeling that I had, that I didn't want it to stop, because it was too lekker. So yes, I had multiple times when I wanted it to stop. I couldn't handle it. I was out of control from the beginning. Let's not deny that. But I thought I was in control. But yeah, there was a lot of times when I wanted to kill myself because I couldn't control it. I just didn't go through with it. Yeah, because I just knew where I would have gone if I did. Yeah.
I didn't ask before, what job did you do now at this point?
I was a jack of all trades. I was a salesman, I was a bartender, I was a waiter, I was working in film. That was basically what I did. So with salesmen, I did telesales, I did door-to-door sailing, I was on the beach, I was selling holidays. So, and on top of that, I was also dealing. So I was making legal money and I was making illegal money. But somehow I justified it, because remember, my vision was to use that money so I can go back to university. So I justified having both of this money to it, but I never had enough money. I had a lot of money, but I never had enough money.
What happened that you eventually ended up seeking help? Or didn't you seek it out?
I tried myself to stop 5 times with regards to heroin. I did. I stopped and I went back. I stopped and I went back. The last time, I'll never forget it. It was in 2017. I was down. I was completely down. I was staying by a friend's house. My mom and them, they couldn't handle me anymore. My stepdad didn't want me in the house. So I stayed by friends of mine. And I had meth. I had 5 methadone bottles. So I justified to myself, listen, I'll keep smoking, and then eventually I'll stop. But then that's when I had that moment again of, is this how my life is? Because at that time I was smoking so much that I couldn't get high anymore. My friends next to me, they are completely high, but I wasn't. So I'll sit there and I'll try to get high, but I couldn't. So what I did was I took the methadone and the heroin and I put them together and I tried to get high on that. But I got high for a certain time, but then it just got worse. And then at that time, it was November of 2017. I'll never forget. I prayed and I said, you know what, Father, I can't anymore. You know when he talks about in Romans that he gives you over to a debased mind? For years he gave me over because he gave me a chance and I said no. So he said, okay, you go do your thing. And then I kept on asking for help and he said, no. Do you want to do your thing? Go do your thing. And then at that moment, I said, Father, I can't do this anymore. I don't see myself being like this all the time. I didn't envision my life being controlled by drugs. I did not. And a week, 2 weeks later, my mom phones me. My mom says to me, listen, your people in Joburg want to see you, They want you to come and visit. And all I'm thinking was, I'm in a turkey in Joburg. It's not going to be lekker. But something deep inside, the Holy Spirit telling me, your prayers are going to be answered. Go. And that night, I was contemplating, and I didn't phone my mom the next morning. I said, listen, I'm going to Joburg. It's fine. I'll go. I went there. Went to my granny, stayed in a very small place where the roof was a wall. So you can imagine it's hot. I didn't have no tablets, I didn't have Suboxone. I had 2.5 milligrams of Suboxone, which will not help because of the way that I smoke. I'll never forget, I cold turkeyed for 2 weeks. I couldn't handle it. I was hitting the walls. I had heavy anxiety. My arm here, I felt like tearing my arm off. I remember my granny was praying for me, like she'd never saw someone go through that, like in the daytime I would handle it, I would smoke weed and I'll handle it, but at night it was like, I couldn't, and she'd pray for me, and then after 2 weeks, I was clean. It was hell. I then said to me, I still need to go to a rehab. I said, okay, I'll go, it's fine. I went to a 6-week program in LRC in Joburg. I was fine for a while. I came back. My granny and them, all my auntie them from Joburg, they said to me, listen, you can come and stay by us. They accepted me back because they couldn't handle how I looked. I looked bad. I went back 2-3 months later. I started smoking tuck. Well, not started smoking tuck. I used to smoke tuck when I was in Cape Town, But then it became an everyday thing. And I then substituted my drug with something else. I then went to a second rehab, and needless to say, it was not what I thought it would be. I came back after 2 weeks. My people did not want me at home. They said to me, if you come back, then you go back to Cape Town. I couldn't go back to Cape Town at the time because I did so much bad things that my mom used to call me and said, you know what, I'll never forget, she says to me, there's a black BMW and a black Lexus that comes to your house every night without fail. So she said, it's either if you come back, you get killed, or the police is looking for me and I go to jail. So I couldn't go back. I had nowhere to go. I prayed, and Father said to me, just go home, it'll be sorted. I went home, and he sorted things out, Then I was fine for a while. I knew what I needed to do. I knew I needed to stick into the Word. I knew that every single day I need to be with God. I cannot have a day without Him. Because if I have a day without Him, I then want to do my will. I want to do self. And I did that for a while. I was going to youth, I was going to church, and there's a lot of dynamics around. Things would happen, so I stopped going, stopped reading the Bible, and then I fell back into it again.
Speak about you were praying, so was it part of your upbringing?
Always. When I was younger, my granny used to take me to church. We'd go to church every Sunday. My granny was, like I said, she was an alcoholic. She then stopped. She is a prayer warrior of note. So I've known God my whole life, but I always thought it was a feeling thing. If I don't feel you, you're not there. So I got interested in other religions and the universe, and so I've always known God, always. But I drifted away from God, not the other way around. Yeah, so this time I slept extremely hard. I did loads of meth. I did buttons for days. I started looking grey in my face, like badly. There was an incident that night where I smoked so much meth. I started, there was a sound that I couldn't handle, so I wanted to sleep. So I packed me a button pipe, and I packed too much. And after I smoked, I got up and I fell down. But then the CD racket fell down. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. My auntie then came in. She was like, "What are you doing?" And I couldn't answer because I was out of it. And they said, "No, this child needs help badly." And that time I was 23, 24. My uncle came. I remember there was a funeral that happened that day. So my mom also came from Cape Town. My auntie them, you must remember my auntie them, they saw my uncle went through drugs. They'd never think that I would do the same thing. When they saw me do this, they were distraught. They didn't know what to do. They thought going to rehab twice would have helped me, and they said, there's nothing that's helping this child. Like they don't know what to do anymore. My uncle came, and my uncle said, "Listen, I'll pay for his rehab. And my mom was like, no, it's too much, you know. And my uncle said, no, nothing's too much. You see how this lighty looks? He's grey in his face. He's thin. I can't recognize him. You know, and my uncle paid for my program. I stayed for a year.
Okay, so this is where you came to Hope Again recovery.
Yes. It was October 2019. I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go. They told me that it was 6 months. My uncle said, listen, when I come out in April 2020, we'll sort out work and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, no. I thought about it. I went into some self-pity that weekend, and I was like, I'm not going. And that's when God spoke to me, and he said, you know what? You see, I've taken you out of heroin now. Now, I'm going to take you out of everything else. Everything else. I'm talking about drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. I didn't see it at the time. He just said to me, I'm taking you out of everything. And then I said, okay, Father, you do you, you know. I went to rehab. It was very hard. I had to deal with things that I did not want to deal with. I had to go through things that I did not want to go through. I had to think back of things that went on in my past that I couldn't handle. That was where Jacques came in, and he helped me through a lot of things. I'll never forget, I was reading in January, I was reading in Leviticus, and in Leviticus, it talks about the Levite priests, when they turn 25, that they will devote their life to God. You know, I turned 25 in rehab. So, and before this, before I even went to rehab, when I was 15 or 16, God told me that you will stop everything of this world, and at 25, you will devote your life to me. I didn't think anything of it, because I was like, bro, I'm 15 years old, what are you talking about? You know? And that's when I saw it. It was January of 2020, I was reading, and I was like, hey, I turned 25 in rehab. You know, and that's when my mindset changed, because remember I told you about December, how my mindset changed then. So then I knew that I need to be obedient. I went through the program, and it was tough. I said in February, I said to my counselor, I said, listen, Jacques, I want to stay for a year. He said, well, relax yourself. This is already in January. So I said, no, think about it first. I came back 2 weeks later, I said to him, listen, Jacques, I want to stay for a year. And he said to me, it's good you made that decision, because your uncle already paid for a year, you know. So, needless to say, I was not angry, because I made the acceptance that now I wanted to stay. Because there was a lot of things I needed to work on. You know, I was dysfunctional for years, since I was 13, you know, so I still had a child mindset, you know. I didn't know responsibility, had no responsibility. I basically survived through life. I was in some tough situations, you know, a lot of situations. I got stabbed in, and I thought I was going to die. You know, places that I've been in, he's taken me out of, places that no one would want to go into. But I went in there, and he took me out of it, you know. I'll never forget one day, I was in Hanover Park, and I went to go get something, and went to go get, obviously, drugs. And as we got there, we got the drugs, but something inside said, you need to leave now. You know, and my friend was like, nah, let's stay, let's smoke, you know what I mean? I was like, no, let's go, brother. And as we turned the corner, the dealer at that time, he went to go get drugs from someone else. He stole the drugs, and that people then came over, and they shot everybody in that place. They shot everybody. So whether you were smoking there, whether you were a dealer, they shot everybody, and we turned the corner. When we came around, we asked, listen, what happened? They said, nah, they shot everybody, and that's where we were going to sit. So I had a lot of situations like that in my life where I would have died, but God took me out. You know, David, just to let you know that, like, David, as a shepherd, what they do is with their staff, they write pictures of the things that they've gone through. Like, for example, David, when he killed a bear, he threw a bear on his staff. When he killed a lion, he threw a lion there. So that would be a mental note of what God took them through. So I have this mental staff on what God has taken me through in my life, so that I know that if I go through something again, He's taken me through all of this, so then He can take me through all of that. You know, so that's the amazingness of God. You know. Yeah.
What did you get instead of just stopping when you came here?
I got a foundation. I got a firm foundation. Like I said, like a lot of people think that, you know what, you come to rehab to stop drugs. Most rehabs are like that, don't get me wrong. But talk, very different. Because we have Jesus at the center, it's not only stopping drugs, but it's also about living for Him. So when living for Him, you have a firm foundation. And you learn life again. You learn about life. You know, and that's the amazing part, is that I didn't just come here for stopping drugs. I came here to learn about myself, and I learn about who I am in Christ and where my identity lies. You know, so that is what I think everybody needs to accept. You know, is that we're not here for drugs. God has brought us here not to stop drugs, but to live for Him. Because all He's doing is He's opening up His arms and He's saying, come. And this is the chance. People think that I'm here because of this, I'm here. No. We are here because God has brought us here, whether it be through someone, whether it be through a sponsor, whether it be through... It's always an answered prayer from someone else. You know, so that's what we must know, is that it's a firm foundation that we get. And then from there, we then build the house. So program-wise, there's a lot of... We do workstations, a lot of classes. There's, like I'm saying, we faith-based, you know, so it's a lot of Bible, a lot of showing people who Jesus is, you know. So you'll have class in the morning, you'll have workstations, and then you'll have a break, you'll have workstations again, and then you'll have night classes as well. So yeah, so physicality is workstations. You go out, and it's not only just to work. You know, it's therapy. You know, you start something and you end something. It also gives the mind a note to say that, you know what, I can complete something. You know, because in life we give up too easily. You know, so in our workstations we have certain objectives, certain goals. You need to be goal driven. You know, and with those small goals, you start orientating it in your own life. You know, so it's not just a physical thing. Yes, it's good labor. You know, get the body nice and healthy. But it's also a mental thing, so that you can also understand that I have to get up in the morning, there's a routine, and then I'm going to go and work, because that's what normal people do. You know, so yeah, that's the physical part about it.
So are you happy now?
I'm always happy, you know, but the thing is, I'm fulfilled, and then that's the difference, is that the thing is, happiness goes away. You know, it's an emotion, but I have peace within. So because I have peace within, and because I'm fulfilled, I'm always happy. Even when I'm sad, I'm happy, because in that I rejoice, because it makes me feel things, it makes me know things, you know. But there was a void inside that couldn't be filled with anything. But now it's fulfilled. The house that I'm living in is full. You know, so to answer that question, I am fulfilled but not happy, but happy also. Yeah.
Okay, so the brand promise, the only brand promise that seems to be true is pick and pay, because you know you're going to pick and you know you're going to pay.
Yeah.
The place is called Hope Again Recovery Center.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes. A lot of people come here hopeless. They come here giving up on life, giving up on just their life, you know. And it's exactly what it says, is that not we don't provide the hope. It is you learning about God here that provides the hope. So that is where Hope Again comes in, is that we just show you, because remember, we are just reflections of Jesus. When I look at you, I want to see Jesus. When you look at me, you want to see Jesus. That's all we provide, is the hope of seeing Him in your life. So yes, the statement is true, that you get hope again when you come to Hope Again.
If you need to talk to families with a Jared, with a loved one, who's looking at this now on YouTube or wherever, what do you tell them?
What I would tell them is that, you know, first of all, they should never give up on their child. You know, and that places like this, it brings restoration. It does. and it only comes with time. But the one thing is that, people never gave up on me. My mom never gave up on me. God never gave up on me. So they should never give up on their children, you know what I mean? And when you have an opportunity that is presented, such as this place, restoration is there, and you won't get your child back. You'll get a better person, because I know a lot of people say that they just want the old Brian back, or the old Ursula back, but it's not that. You get a totally new person, so give your child a chance to have a better life.
Will people leave here with skills, and what kind of skills can they acquire when they're here?
It depends what you want to go into, with regards to workstations. From my point, like I said, I'm part of head of maintenance. So the people that work for me, there'll be one guy that knows maintenance very well as well. But then we'll bring in people that will want to learn maybe welding, want to learn maybe how to fix this, how to fix a pipe, how to fix a geyser, So in my part, they learn basic maintenance skills, you know what I mean? When people are in the lands, they learn how to plant, and they learn that they watch things grow, and that's where I told you where epiphanies come in, revelations come in. You know what? If you plant a seed, you'll watch it grow. It's the same in your own life, So in everything you learn different skills, whether it be spiritual skills, whether it be emotional skills, whether it be mental skills, or whether it be physical skills. But you do learn it, And then we also have people that's starting to study now as well. So there's a wide variety of things that you learn here, you know what I mean? And the nice thing is that opportunity is always given, always. The boss man, he's a wonderful guy. Like I respect him a lot, and he's always open to give someone an opportunity, always. He never says no.
In conclusion, tell me who and what you are today.
My name's Jared, and I am a child of God. I do not no longer live for myself, but I live for other people. My desire and my vision is to seek more of God, and that's all I am. That's me.